Hello and welcome to the JW Thoughts channel. My name is Wally and today we are back at it looking at 100 Years of Watchtower Lies, where we are deconstructing the Millions Now Living Will Never Die book. But before we do that, I do want to just tease a little something. I know it's been a long time since I've done any of my skits, and it is one of my favorite things to do, but they are very time consuming, and the views versus the amount of time I was spending on them didn't really make a whole lot of sense. But now that the channel is growing a little bit, I do want to take another foray into doing some more of the funny little skit comedy things. So I do have one that I'm going to be releasing after the end of this series. So this is going to be a daily series for about a week or so, just however much I find interesting in this book, but it'll probably be about a week. And then the next day, as a way to conclude this whole shebang of going over the book, will be that comedy skit. So look out for that. Try and show it some love. Give it a watch. Give it a like. All that good stuff. I've worked a lot on it. And anyway, it's been sitting in the queue for over a year now, which is actually kind of surprising. Anyway, with all of that being said, today we are talking about how Jehovah's Witnesses used to say that organized religion was evil and stupid, and how the preaching work was already complete. Let's go into 100 Years of Watchtower Lies. All right, let's jump right in to page 107 of the Millions Now Living Will Never Die book. Under the subheading, Appeal to the Clergy, it says, "It is not my thought to hold up the clergy to ridicule, but rather would I appeal to them that they fulfill their duty and obligation to the people in this hour of distress. I would remind them that the commission given to all followers of Jesus is not to convert the world and bring them into some organized system. Their commission is not to collect money from the people to carry out these purposes. Their commission is not to persecute others, but their divinely given commission is plainly set forth by the Lord in these words." And then it goes and quotes a scripture, which isn't consequential because I think we got the real meat of it here. What does it say here that the commission from Jesus is not? It's not to convert the entire world. What are Jehovah's Witnesses best known for? It's their door-to-door preaching work. Or, well, maybe now they're cart witnessing by who knows at this point. But they're known for trying to convert people. And after having spent so much time in the ministry, I remember lyingly telling people, well, we're not trying to convert people. We're just trying to educate them. And what they do with that education, who's going to say? But that is absolutely disingenuous. You want to see someone become a Jehovah's Witness. There's no other reason that you walk up to someone or knock on their door or go to a bus stop or stand by a cart while you're an active Jehovah's Witness, other than to count time so you look good in the eyes of the elders and the organization and hopefully achieve some rank. Or you are genuine and you do want to see someone's life being saved. I remember the old classic Toni Morris clip of, if you're not regular out in the ministry, look at your hands. They got blood on them. And some people out there listening to this talk, your hands, they have blood on them. They absolutely are so pressed by the organization into making new disciples. And yet their very foundation said, what? I mean, we weren't trying to bring everyone together into some organized way. Even the baptism questions were changed to such a degree that people are baptized in the name of an organization. I guess I'll just read one other quote on this because it really hammers it home. This comes from a 2014 Watchtower, May 2014 Watchtower, and it says this: "After false religion is destroyed, Jehovah's Witnesses will be the only religious organization left on earth." They absolutely believe that you need to be a member of Jehovah's Witnesses if you're going to be saved and be spared at Armageddon. So it's hilarious that in the past, they didn't think this to actually be the case. Now, what was the next point? Yes, their commission is not to collect money from people to carry out these purposes.
The text reminds us of using our financial means to make friends with Jehovah and Jesus. And
what is Watchtower known for, especially more so amongst the ex-Jehovah's Witness community? Just how far they've gone in asking for money. Even if you go back 10, 20, 30 years, they were really sort of sheepish and embarrassed about the idea of just coming out and asking for money. It was seen to be this sort of taboo subject. But then the era of JW broadcasting sort of changed everything, where they could just come out and say, hey, we need your cash. We need your airline miles. I know I always mention it before, or I've mentioned it before, and I always bring it up, but it's so funny. They will even tell people, you can donate your airline miles and your gift cards. We want anything you got. Bring it on. So I just when you go back and look at what the organization was versus where it has gone and what it has become, I think the leaders or the originators of the organization back then would not even be able to recognize what Jehovah's Witnesses are today, or this thing that was grown out of the original Bible students. Now, this other point that it mentioned was their commission is not to persecute others, and I find this fascinating because for decades they were actually against other churches for excommunicating their members. They found it to be this vile practice, a sinful thing. And then eventually they saw the power that was shunning. Wow, if we lose members, what if we just threaten to take all of their family and friends away from them? Maybe that will be a powerful tool to keep people. I would call that persecution. I absolutely would think this is, as someone that's experienced it firsthand, it is horrible. And it continues to be horrible. Sometimes you're just having a bad day and you're laying in bed and you just break out in tears and don't want to move because you think about all of the friends and family and memories that you have missed out on. And it can be really, really horrible. So I would call that persecution. And what does the organization do in order to keep its members? They want to persecute them. Facing that choice can be so difficult of, well, now I know it's not true, but I need to stay because I'm going to be persecuted if I leave. Now, tying in again that quote I gave of only Jehovah's Witnesses are going to survive Armageddon. On page 34 of the Millions Now Living book, under the subheading How to Live Forever, it says this: the church systems would have people believe that only those who become members can be saved. The Bible never taught any such doctrine. The Lord never organized nominal systems, and the true church is but a little flock who shall inherit the kingdom of heaven, and the others of the world do not inherit it. The church, Jesus said, fear not, little flock, for it is your Father's good pleasure to give you the kingdom. Jesus died not only for those who will constitute the members of the church, but for all. And then it goes and expounds upon this subject even more, saying, yes, Jesus died for everyone. Everyone after they die is going to be resurrected and get an opportunity to learn about what the truth is and the grand plan of the ages, and they would have time to accept that. I think I want to delve into that a little bit more in a separate episode, so we won't go too far because there is a few other little interesting things that tie in there as well. So there you have it, right there in plain English. The Bible never taught such a doctrine that you have to belong to a church in order to be saved. That is not new light where Jehovah's Witnesses are today. That's changed light. They call it, some adjustments were made. This is a 180-degree flip. This is not an adjustment in any way, shape, or form. And then again, they double down on that. The Lord never organized the nominal systems, but the true church is but a little flock. So this whole entire idea of an organized religion and the need to be a member of that was completely anathema to any Bible student way back then. One last quote before we wrap everything up here, and that's going to be on page 57. If the leaders of the interchurch world movement claim that their purpose is the conversion of the world to Christianity, then we say to them that they are too late. They are not doing it the Lord's way. In the first place, they are not preaching the gospel of the kingdom. They frankly state they are ignoring the doctrinal truths of the gospel. In the second place, the preaching of the gospel of the kingdom is not for the purpose of converting the whole world, but for taking out from the world a people for his name. And thirdly, this has already been done, and we are at the end of the old order, and the new is coming in. Yes, if there is a Christian group out there that says, hey, we are trying to convert the world, sorry, you're too late. It's already been done. That third point, this has already been done. We are already at the end. How fascinating it is that they thought the preaching work was already wrapped up. And here the Watchtower is 100 years later saying, we got to keep on preaching. The time left is reduced. It's very urgent. They were so confident back then. They were like, yeah, the preaching work, it's all been done. And what does the preaching work really matter in the long run? Because everyone's going to be resurrected, which a few videos ago, if you guys remember, which is new light in Watchtower now. So some of the old light becoming new light. Always very interesting. But yeah, they were even critical of other churches for trying to go out on missions and preaching in order to gain more members. So again, something they were critical of that they've basically adopted and has become a core principle for the Watchtower organization. I hope you guys found this interesting. I really have enjoyed looking at some of the different sections of this Millions Now Living Will Never Die book and just comparing it to modern day Jehovah's Witnesses. And I hope that people will be able to use some of these points when talking to current members and be like, hey, did you know that the Watchtower used to believe in this? And they'll be like, wait, what? No, we never did that. And if you think that I'm just being funny or silly, I promise you it will actually work, because when I was doing my anti-cart witnessing shenanigans, when I was fully awake but still doing the cart witnessing, I would always do this little game of bringing up something I knew someone wouldn't know about Watchtower history and then go and see if they would do any extra or additional research about it. And it was always entertaining because they would always say, no, the organization never taught that. What? And then the next week, whenever we would have a cart witnessing shift, they'd be like, wow, I couldn't believe the organization used to teach that. And you could kind of see some of the gears turning as they're like laughing at their own doctrine. And that can be a very powerful thing. Laughing at your own doctrine or recognizing when something is just demonstrably silly, it can have an effect of, maybe I don't need to take this that seriously, and lead you to start asking more questions. Anyway, I will see all of you guys tomorrow at 6 a.m. Pacifical time, and we are going to talk about, I'm not 100% sure yet, but it'll either be demons or some of the things he said about what's going to happen in paradise. Either way, be on the lookout for that. Don't forget to drop a like on the video, subscribe to the channel. I'll see you tomorrow.